Anxious times for a Nebraska Game and Parks conservation officer. He thought he was going to be shot. That's in a sworn affidavit about an incident involving a reckless driver who allegedly pulled out a handgun.
In a First Alert 6 investigation, Mike McKnight looks into why that suspect didn't pay much to get out of jail.
Since the arrest of a fleeing suspect who crashed his motorcycle, some in law enforcement say the defendant needs more legal guardrails.
My biggest concern is that here's a guy that was already on probation. He's already under the supervision of Nebraska, and now he's out on pretrial release supervision again after pointing a weapon at a Game and Parks officer.
On Sunday, May 31st, as families enjoyed Two Rivers State Park, a conservation officer says a reckless motorcyclist passed him. The suspect rode in front of the marked Game and Parks vehicle, allegedly pulled a black handgun and pointed it back as if he was going to shoot at the game warden, who then initiated a pursuit. In his affidavit describing the incident, the Game and Parks officer says he watched the fleeing motorcyclist try and slow down at this T intersection, but the suspect couldn't stop and continued through and hit that guardrail. But 19-year-old Wyatt Bolita ran from the scene, and the Omaha police helicopter located him in a field where deputies made the arrest, but he had tossed the handgun along the way. Later, Bolita appeared in the Douglas County Jail courtroom charged with terroristic threats and operating a motor vehicle to avoid arrest, both felonies.
The driver of the motorcycle positioned himself next to the officer's car and proceeded to pull a black handgun at the officer.
In court, the prosecutor said a gun had not been located. Judge John Huber then set bond.
The bond of $10,000, 10%.
Not high enough for Douglas County Attorney Don Klein.
This guy's, we feel, a danger to the community and public safety. So if we can figure out something to do to initiate another review of that bond, which I think we'll be able to do soon.
Before the May pursuit, in April, Bolita had been placed on probation in Sarpy County for 3 misdemeanor convictions, 2 for operating a motor vehicle to avoid arrest.
And we've all talked about that here, that when our lawyers go in there for a bond review or a bond setting to make sure the judge knows all the circumstances, and obviously, in certain cases, particularly when there's a gun used, we want to have a substantial bond.
Released after putting up $1,000 on a 10% of $10,000 bond, Wyatt Bolita could face a higher amount when there's a bond review in Douglas County and probation revocation in Sarpy County. Near Two Rivers State Park, Mike McKnight, First Alert 6.
And law enforcement sources tell Mike that the 9mm handgun Bolita allegedly pointed at the conservation officer has recently been recovered. Nebraska Game and Parks, meantime, won't comment on a pending case.
Now, the Douglas County Corrections Director, Michael Myers, says that while out on bond, the suspect is monitored through face-to-face check-ins. He says the judge didn't order any enhanced supervision like GPS tracking or drug and alcohol testing, so those conditions cannot be added without a court order. Judge Huber declined to comment on this case. The public defender's office hasn't returned our call. Now to the latest on Nebraska.